Hello everybody, my name is Cade Olaf and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be going over 5 tips on how to save money fast. Before I go into these tips, I want to mention that you do need to be making money in order to save money. So if you're watching this video and you don't currently have a job, these tips are pretty much going to be useless. And so I would recommend that those viewers' first tip would be get a job so they can start making some money. With that being said, let's get started with tip number 1. So the first tip on how to save money fast is what I call the Stefan theory. Now, if you've never heard of him, his name is Stefan and he is known for his finance YouTube channels. He is actually one of the main people who influenced me to start my YouTube channel. If you want to look into him, you can find his channels by looking up Stefan on YouTube. The reason I call it the Stefan theory is because I heard him talking about this tip one time in one of his videos. I'm not sure if he made it up or heard it in another video that he saw, but either way, it is a great tip. And the whole idea is to ask yourself the simple question of, would you rather have the cash? For instance, you're driving by a Starbucks and immediately you start getting a craving for coffee. Well, instead of quickly following your gut and whipping across 4 lanes to get into the Starbucks parking lot, you have to ask yourself, would I rather have the cash? Instead of spending the $6 that I would spend on a coffee, wouldn't I rather get paid $6? In other words, not spending that $6 on a non-essential item, I'm technically getting paid the $6. Now, I know it's not actually true. Just because I didn't spend the money, I didn't actually make $6 extra. But it's just a mind hack that allows you to look at it this way in order for the tip to work. And trust me, it does. A lot of times I'll want to go out to eat, but then this theory pops in my head and I start to think, man, I'd rather get paid. Out of all the tips I'll be going over in this video, I personally like this one the most because it turns every day into payday. So tip number 2 is similar to tip number 1, being that they're both questions you have to ask yourself before making a purchase. Tip number 2's question is, how many hours does it cost? This question is pretty self-explanatory, but it works very well. And the reason it works so well is because you know how much your time is worth. So when you go to buy those pair of shoes for $100 and then you ask yourself how many hours do these actually cost, you then really start to second guess buying the pair of shoes. To put it in perspective, if you were making $12 an hour, which is minimum wage, those shoes would cost more than an entire 8-hour workday. I don't know about you, but after using this strategy, I start to think very carefully how I make those purchases. Now, tip number 3 is a crucial tip because it doesn't only help you save money, but it helps you in other areas of your life as well. Tip number 3 is to create a schedule. When you create a schedule, if done right, it only allows you to spend money during the times that you're not on schedule. This tip is usually easier when you're in high school and you naturally already have that schedule built in. But after school, you're left on your own and you're in charge of how you prioritize your time. But either way, you can create a schedule and construct it in a way to where you put yourself in situations where you're not going to be tempted to spend money. For instance, when I was in high school, I would go to school, go to work, and then go home. That was my schedule all week, and I loved it because I never spent money because my schedule wouldn't allow it. And like I said, after school, you really do have to make an effort and force yourself to abide by your own schedule. But a good tip would be to write your schedule down and set reminders on your phone so you never get off track. So tip number 3 leads perfectly into tip number 4 because you can plan for tip number 4 in your schedule. Tip number 4 is to make a budget. This is by far the most important tip in this video. Budgeting is so crucial for many reasons, but the main reason being that you can track how much money you have to spend, save, and invest. Without a budget, surprise expenses can hit your bank account without you even knowing, and then you run into the problem of wasting money. Now, there are many ways you can go about creating a budget. You can do the old school pen and paper technique, or you can use apps like EveryDollar, Good Budget, and Mint, but I personally like to use Google Sheets because I can customize my spreadsheets to my liking. It honestly doesn't matter what you use as long as you can read it easily and you can track where every penny is located. When you have a budget, you can always refer back to it and know how much money you can spend where. I think that there's a misconception when it comes to budgeting. People think that it's hard and that it takes a long time and that it's restricting, but honestly, it couldn't be any more opposite. It is not too hard nowadays with all the apps you're given, all the YouTube videos you can watch to create your own budgets, and it does not take a long time. I budget every 2 weeks and it only takes me 20 minutes max. So to put that in perspective, 1 week is equivalent to 10,080 minutes, and that means 2 weeks is equivalent to 20,160 minutes. So I would hope that you guys aren't too terrible at time management and can find 20 minutes out of your 20,160 to sit down and go over your budget. It really does help, and so I would like to challenge everyone who's watching this video to ask your family and friends if they budget themselves. This way you can get a deeper insight on who manages their finances, and it also allows you to see how a budget can actually benefit someone's lifestyle. Last but not least is tip number 5, which is to have a goal. When you set a financial goal for yourself, it makes saving a whole lot easier and more worth it. Every time you get an urge to spend some money, you can revert back to your goal and tell yourself it is worth it. When you create your budget, one of your main savings portals you should set up should be labeled as your goal. And the goal could be whatever you want it to be. It could be that you want to save up to start your own business, buy your first car, or save up for school. We all have dreams and goals we want to achieve, but the reality is that we need some type of money to help us get there. And then you have to think about when you do achieve that dream or goal. I imagine most of our dreams and goals have to do with making more money than we are now. And so you have to be able to control your finances now, because having a lot of money may look easier, but the reality is it just makes everything a little bit more complicated if you don't keep it under control. There was a reason that tip number 5 was last, and that's because I wanted to end the video by saying this. These tips will work if you have a reason. Figure out what it is you want to do, create a goal for yourself, and use these tips to help you accomplish that goal. So for the end of the video, I want you to think of somebody you personally know who doesn't manage their finances well, and I want you to share this video with them. It is awesome to see people supporting my dreams and goals, and so I want to be able to share these videos with as many people as possible. That way we can all achieve our dreams and goals together. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, I'm Kate Olaf, and I'll see you in the next one.